Hey, what is up guys? Jackson here with Toasty DIY, and today I am super excited because I am for the first time ever going to be building my own custom keyboard that's beyond just buying a PCB and popping in some switches and keycaps. We're going to be doing some modifications, some lubing, and hopefully making this thing sound and look amazing for under $100 bucks. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I bought almost everything you see here on AliExpress, and I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to go ahead and get into each part, talk about them real quick, and then we're going to start building, starting with the base of this whole entire video, which is the Matthew, or that's what I at least thought I bought. It's funny because now I see it looks like Zuo, but it's basically a GMK87 in black. Let's go ahead and open it up because I haven't even had a chance to see it yet, but this is supposed to be a wireless RGB hot swap, I think TKL, or at least something along the TKL design, and it has an LCD display which says TV, which I think is kind of funny, but pretty good looking keyboard for under $50 on AliExpress, and that's shipped. As you guys can see on the back here, it's funny because I can see like where they kind of covered up another logo. It is just a plastic housing, but it does have flip out feet, it does have anti-skid pads, and as you can see, it's basically ready to go if you want to just buy your switches, pop them in, put your keycaps on, and boom, you're good to go. It uses USB Type-C for connectivity. We do have tri-mode, so it can do 2.4 gigahertz with the dongle, or it can use Bluetooth, and you can just run it wired if you'd like. The dongle is actually right here in the back. It's just a simple USB dongle that is held in place magnetically, and like I said, it does have USB Type-C. You can also change between Windows and Mac for the layered keys. It's not too bad. Like I said, a little bit flimsy, like it's not super flexible, but it is just plastic. So on Amazon, I bought these. This is about a pound worth of wheel weights. This is actually how they balance wheels and tires at auto shops, and what my goal is to actually be able to find a spot inside the keyboard to fit these all along the bottom, which will give this thing a lot of heft so that you get that more premium feel, less sliding around, and hopefully it'll kind of make the inside a little bit less hollow so that the keys aren't quite as tinny sounding or thawky. Now the keyboard does come with honestly a not bad looking braided USB Type-C cable, and it comes with a keycap and switch puller, but I decided to opt for an artisan cable. This was also from AliExpress, coming in around $5, so that's pretty cheap. Oh, and these wheel weights were around $8 or $9, which honestly pretty cheap, and they're adhesive too. So this right here is called an artisan cable. It simply just serves an aesthetic purpose. A lot of people ask me like, oh, are these actually useful? Not really, they just look really nicely running to the back of your keyboard. It just looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. That's kind of why we call them artisan cables. So ideally you'd run it something like this here. You'd run this USB to the back of your PC or the front or whatever, and then you have a nice coiled cable, which looks pretty cool. A lot of people really like them, but hey, that's just an optional feature that you absolutely do not need. Now another thing that I got from Amazon was actually some switch lube. So not from any name brand or anything crazy. I think this was under $10. Let me see if this, I don't even know if this has a brand. It looks like it's in like Chinese, so I couldn't even tell you what it is, but this right here is a pretty nice looking applicator. So it's basically like a paintbrush. So it's angled too, which is kind of interesting. Or I don't even think it's supposed to be angled. I think it just broke. Maybe it's supposed to have a slight angle. I'm not sure. It'll work for my purpose, but it's just a really fine bristled brush. And then inside of here, we have some actual switch lube. It's switch and stabilizer lube. We're not going to be lubing each one of these switches, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm not going to spend that much time, but I am going to hopefully lube the stabilizers so they sound really good and we don't have any squeaking. I may even be adding some electrical tape to the back of the stabilizers to keep that plate bouncing noise from happening. Which will be something we determine once we take apart this keyboard. They're just a linear switch that are known as being a really good budget option. They're using the cherry profile, so they're not a box switch. And as you guys can see, they have a nice sound to them. Very linear, very smooth, not too heavy, but also good amount of resistance. They're just a standard 2-prong layout. We do have a really good spot for LED shine through, which appears to, I think that'd be a south facing LED. So that works out perfect. We're gonna hopefully get some pretty bright looking RGB backlight action. And then for the actual keycaps, these are wool mirror. I actually got these from Amazon because I found that I wasn't really getting much cheaper options on AliExpress, in all honesty. I have not gotten to see these either, so I'm excited to see what these look like. These I kind of went for, they're kind of like a retro look is how I describe them. I'm gonna try to do this because you really want to try to keep these in order in case you haven't built a keyboard before. That's very important, or else you're going to be doing a lot of research trying to remember where every single key goes. But look at that. I think that's going to look super slick inside of this kind of black housing. Plus we got the little screen that we'll be able to kind of program to do what we want. At least I think we can. We'll find that out in the software. We even have a little volume knob as well that has a mute button on it. I'm so excited. First thing we're going to do is take apart this keyboard. We don't need to mess with the switches or keycaps just yet, but first thing, taking apart, getting the weights in, lubing what we need to, and then putting it back together for assembly. All right, so I know I saw in the reviews some people were saying that this keyboard's pretty hard to get apart, so I guess some other people had the same idea as me. It does not use screws or anything, which I will say that's one thing that you definitely pay for. If you get a nicer keyboard, you'll likely get a much nicer taken apart experience, but I should be able to make do with this, hopefully without breaking anything. Oh, we're close. We're really close. All right, I can see inside the keyboard, but it just goes to show this is, you know, like I said, cheaper plastics. All right, we are now in the keyboard. Let's see what we have in the inside here. So obviously our battery's underneath this foam, which, hey, we got actual foam. That's cool. We can see the back of our PCB here. See the back of like all of our LEDs and everything. The actual mounting for how the actual hot swap works. So that's pretty cool. I haven't really opened a whole lot of these up because I normally don't have the need to. But let's go ahead and I'm going to change the camera angle. You guys are going to go on a mission with me to try to find where we can put these weights. Trying to keep them together to where they don't fall apart. Okay, so it looks like, I feel like I can probably do some along the front here. And I feel pretty confident that I'm good to just go over top of the silicone here. So actually I'm just gonna kind of extend this out, make sure that we're actually stuck down and everything, but so it'll basically rest right on the back, which honestly, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually gonna put the last few directly on the silicone pad, or maybe, no, let's go underneath in the silicone. But it's looking like we're fitting all of them, so this is pretty hype. Okay, so yeah, we got all of them in, and it's funny, this thing already feels like more premium without even everything, you know, assembled. So now would probably be a good time to go ahead and lube some things up. So once again, to recap, we have our weights kind of scattered around, but mostly underneath our silicone pad. I did put these weights on top because in all honesty, it doesn't really look like this makes direct contact with this area here, but the rest of them are definitely well beneath the PCB, so we don't need to worry about combat some of that stabilizer noise, which really we might have a problem with because there is foam. Let me, you know, real quick, I'm gonna throw a space bar on here actually, because that's really the one I'm most worried about. There we go. All right. Actually, I gotta be honest, most of what I'm hearing is the stabilizers aren't making any noise at all. I'm really just hearing the actual, it's either the switch bottoming out. Yeah, I might just, you know what, I think I'm just gonna throw a good amount of lube on each of these and then just say F it to actually adding like a backing or anything to this. All right guys, that definitely took a hot minute, and definitely need to wipe this down a little bit. It's crazy. Make sure you wash your hands before you do this. We can go ahead and start installing our keycaps, which is gonna take another hot minute. All right guys, we got the keyboard done and configured. You can see here we got a little GIF playing. This actually comes built in from the factory, which is pretty cool. You get two different options, and I believe it's function enter. And there we go. So we can do like the basic where we get like our battery, the time, the date, and I mean, you really can change this all to whatever you want. I kind of think the GIFs are kind of fun. We got this little like toy car driving through, but I think this little polar bear here definitely matches the kind of white color scheme I have going on. You can change this bar to whatever you want. You can turn all the lights off, you can turn this light off, all different kinds of modes that you can do just with function, and then you have to look up what the layers are in the instruction manual. There's also software that you can download that works okay. It's the VIA software. I will say I was having trouble getting this to actually connect and actually change RGB like I wanted it to, so I found it was easier just to use the keyboard's built-in functionality. It did end up coming in a little under 3 pounds. I think it's about 2 pounds 13 ounces. So for it being a plastic keyboard, it has some good heft to it. It still doesn't feel like a metal keyboard truly, but it's definitely not too far off from it, which is pretty cool for the not well under, but I would say like $80 to $100 price point, depending on what accessories you get with it. And ultimately I decided I really didn't end up needing the lube. I think the weights were definitely worth it. I would do the weights again, but I wouldn't do the lube. I don't think you really need the electrical tape because the stabilizers just are so well lubed and they have no real slapping noise or anything. So I think the keyboard comes pretty well configured. You really just need to add some weights to it if you want some heft, and then go through and add your switches and keycaps. So guys, I gotta say, I had a lot of fun making this keyboard for this DIY video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know, I'll hopefully be able to do some other cool stuff like this in the future with kind of more budget peripherals. I definitely enjoy trying to make budget stuff seem like it's nicer than it is. But if you guys liked it, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out Toasty Bros Toasty Clips and also buy a gaming PC or this keyboard here from PCBros.tech. See you guys later. Peace out.